Hey there, Brian Conway here, and I want to share another whiteboard with you. I've had a lot of positive feedback, people saying, oh, they like the kind of whiteboarding sessions, really help them to get to understand and think through some of the key and core principles that I've been sharing. So that's what I want to do, and I want to talk about how to be successful in sales, because there are fundamentally just two things that will help you close more business. And I want to first of all think about the definition of selling. Okay, there are two parts to sales. The first is to find people. Okay, so find people or businesses if you're B2B, but fundamentally businesses are made up of people anyway. So find people who have a need for your product or service. Okay, that's part one. Find people who have a need for your product or service. Part two is show those people how your product or service meets that need. That's selling. That is my definition of selling. It's the most simplest and it's the best definition of selling I've ever heard. Heard it years ago. I've been using it for years. You need to find people who have a need for your product or service and then show those people how your product or service meets that need. That's fundamentally it. So here's the key. If we can do those two things, we will be successful. There are three skills I think you need to be able to do that. So the first of those skills is you've got to be able to find people who have a need. So you've got to be good at prospecting. Okay, that's the first thing. Who have a need for your product or service. So you've got to be good at discovery. All right, you've got to be able to ask the right questions to qualify and quantify the size of that need and qualify in or qualify out. This is again about pipelines and kind of opportunity management, but it fundamentally comes down to how good you are at discovery. And then, last thing, you've got to be able to present effectively. You've got to be able to show them how, remember, not what your product or service does, but how the feature, functionality, or whatever it is, how that addresses their need. People are not buying your product or service for what it does. I always say this, they're buying it for what it does for them. And you cannot present, people who say they pitch and things like that. You can't just pitch somebody on what your product or service is unless, first of all, you have people to pitch to, and secondly, you understand their need. So these are just the three skills that you need to develop if you want to be successful to address just the two things that you need to do in sales to win business, which is find people who have a need for your product or service, and then show those people how your product or service addresses that need. Now, one other element I want to add perhaps to this conversation, and that is the change in the environment that we find ourselves in. Okay, so all of this stuff now, more and more of it since the pandemic has been done in the virtual world. So there is value obviously in having those skills of prospecting, sales discovery, qualification, etc., and formal presentation skills, and being able to create that link between, as I said, what they're trying to achieve and what you've got. But doing it all in a virtual world as well. There's some modifications, there's some changes. Even if you've been a great presenter and you're comfortable standing in the front of the room and talking to people, okay, there's some fundamental differences in doing that in a virtual environment. This is one of the things I've been doing a lot of work on lately, is helping people present in the virtual world. I call it dominating the digital stage. So if you want to improve any of your skills in these areas, if you want to have a conversation about how to modify them to make them work more effectively in the virtual world, and trust me, we're not going back, as many of us thought we might go back to more face-to-face. There's a slight increase, but the majority of business is still being done virtual, and all the big consultancy houses like McKinsey and Gartner, etc., they're all saying the same things, that the majority of business is going to be done in a virtual sales environment, or from a customer's perspective, a virtual buying environment, and people are comfortable with that. And if you do it right, it makes you more efficient, more effective. You'll close more business, you'll earn more income, you'll drive up your revenues if you're a business owner, or explode your sales quota if you're an individual contributor. So if I can help, this is all you need to do. Reach out to me, I'll help you do it. But fundamentally, those two things, those three skills, and we've just got to be able to nail those and then adapt them to the world of virtual. And I promise you, we can be extremely successful. So that's it for today. Hope you found that useful, insightful, got you thinking about, kind of where you really should be focusing your effort and time. And this is, as I said, the things that will help you be successful in sales and in business. So take care. Thanks for your time. I'm Brian Conway. All the best. Bye-bye.